Welcome in to the extra edition of what we'll call the early game. It's an attempt for us to bring extra content to you. I'm not sure if we're going live or if it's pre-recorded. We're learning. We're learning. We're going to give it a shot tonight. Maybe something we bring more content to you as the basketball season and the new year of 2024 goes on. An opportunity to tune in and talk a little South Carolina Clemson tonight. The number 24 ranked Tigers hosting South Carolina in a matchup of teams that are undefeated. How about that? 7-0 South Carolina, 7-0 Clemson, a matchup first time ever that South Carolina and Clemson have met this late in the season, past 3 games as undefeated teams. 7-0 South Carolina, 7-0 Clemson. So we're going to try something a little new. We're going to try and build it a little bit, maybe offer you a little extra content. Obviously, it'll be put out there on Twitter and Facebook and who knows what other social media entities. But thank you, number one. Two, as you can see, Corley Pool Solutions, always a favored sponsor of mine, good friends, Tracy and Laurel Corley, for all they do. Make sure you give them a phone call if you ever have pool needs in the Lexington or Chapin area, 803-445-8109. How you can get in touch with Corley Pool Solutions. Big thank you to them for sponsoring us. And as you would expect, bourbon in a styrofoam, because no show is complete without bourbon in a styrofoam. So you can tell we're going to try something a little bit new. We are open to advertisers and sponsors because right now, bourbon in a styrofoam doesn't quite explain what we're doing. But I do want to bring to you about 5, 10, 15 minutes tonight of South Carolina Clemson preview. Obviously, going to be a fun game, an opportunity for South Carolina and Clemson to build their resume as it pertains to the NCAA tournament. I know it's kind of crazy to think that we're discussing NCAA basketball tournament after South Carolina goes 11-21 in the first year of Lamont Paris, but here we sit, and that's really neat for South Carolina. For the Tigers, Brad Burnell in year 13, or year 14 actually. 13 was last year, year 14, and the Tigers needing another big victory. They've already picked up one over Alabama on the road this year. The Tigers making a jump into the AP top 25 at number 24, and we'll tip off here in about an hour and a half, so to speak. Again, I'm not sure if we're live or if we're doing this and it's going to pop up at 7 o'clock. This is all brand new, and as you're familiar with on the early game, yeah, we tend to do things a little professionally chaotic and always slightly sloppy, and that's what you get tonight. But let's do a quick preview, about 10, 15 minutes. And then I got to be honest, I'm off to a Christmas party. But this is, again, something we want to do a little more often, bring you some content prior to a game, maybe after a game, and get you more involved here as we go through into 2024. So let's just start with right now. As I looked right prior to the beginning of the show here, South Carolina, an 8.5-point underdog on the road at Little John Coliseum. As I mentioned, the total set at 143 points. To me, it really is very simple for what we're looking for tonight. Can South Carolina consistently make 3-pointers? I believe that's the difference in the game. The Gamecocks are shooting at 40% coming into this game from 3-point range. Very strong clip, and obviously led, as you can see at the bottom right now, by Meechie Johnson, who's shooting 39.5% from 3-point range. Can Meechie Johnson keep staying hot tonight? That's going to be a big part of this. The Gamecocks, this is their first legitimately true road test going on the road to Little John. They obviously had what was considered a neutral site game against Grand Canyon. However, that was kind of a road game too, as Grand Canyon was less than 10 miles from the site of Phoenix Stadium. But with all that being said, this will be the first true road test. And as Preston Thorne pointed out today, and we discussed a little bit, what does the atmosphere look like at Little John Coliseum? Is this a truly hostile road environment? And if that's the case, how does South Carolina handled it tonight? And again, anytime you go on the road for basketball teams, shooting in a new gym, different sight lines, it can be a little difficult. So I'm very interested tonight. Can Meechie Johnson stay hot? Again, as you just saw go across the bottom there, 40.2% for the Gamecocks on the season as a team from 3-point range. So a very big part of tonight's game. The next part, as you'll see go across here in just a second, is the play of PJ Hall. Fantastic post player. probably the best South Carolina's faced. Dorman High School, coached by Thomas Ryan, a very good friend of mine. And PJ Hall was a guy that Frank Martin in South Carolina went after very hard, was not quite able to land. Yet, all this being said, PJ Hall's been a stud. 21 points per game is what Hall's averaging. Again, you can see it right there on the bottom. 7.6 rebounds per game. How does South Carolina slow him down? Are they able to slow him down a little bit with BJ Mack? It's going to honestly be two different body types tonight when you talk about BJ Mack weighing close to 270 pounds and PJ Hall being more of the long, lanky stretch four guy that you would anticipate. That to me is the matchup of the game. BJ Mack, PJ Hall. It is odd that both of them, PJ, BJ, Hall, Mac, four letters. You can go and figure out that one on yourself. Maybe a coincidence, maybe not. But the bottom line, that is the matchup of the game. If BJ Mack can control the ball game against PJ Hall, I like South Carolina's chances. If BJ Mack is not able to control the game, might be a little bit different scenario for the Gamecocks in terms of how the outcome goes. Again, as I pointed out, the spread on this game 8.5. This was just minutes ago as I looked it up. 8.5. The Tigers are favored by over under set at 143 points. So how does PJ Hall and BJ Mack match up? That'll be really interesting tonight. And again, then as you look at the statistics rolling across the bottom, you see also Joseph Girard III, Syracuse transfer coming to Clemson, very good guard, 14.7 points per game, 46% from three-point range. It's going to be up the Gamecocks and their defense, which I think has been maybe surprisingly good at the beginning of the season. Maybe not something we expected. Can the Gamecocks slow down the Tigers offensively tonight? Obviously, this Clemson team, very good, very strong chance to make the NCAA tournament if they can continue their hot play, 7-0, much like the Gamecocks. So how does exactly this work tonight? Well, again, I pointed out PJ Hall versus BJ Mack. I pointed out Michi Johnson. I think it comes down to Lamont Paris versus Brad Burnell. Who can make the proper in-game adjustments? Who is able to figure out what the opposing team is trying to do first? I think that'll make it really interesting for both teams because with Lamont Paris, he has a better basketball team. There's no doubt about it. This is a much better basketball team than he was working with last year. And now he's got a team that's experienced, is older. Can they make the adjustments during the game? And I think they've been able to do that. Can they make the adjustments during the game that can pull off the victory? Or is it Brad Burnell figuring out the South Carolina defense? You'll see the Gamecocks probably go a little 1-3-1 tonight. Guys off the bench, Jacoby Wright, Zachary Davis. What kind of impact can they have on the game? And if you're a Gamecock fan and you're watching right now, what kind of impact does Colin Murray Boyle, CMB, have on the game tonight? Freshman, he's back now, coming off that mono. What does he do tonight to impact this basketball game? So there's a lot of really interesting things, and it's fun to do this. And again, we want at the early game, want to bring you a little more content. Again, whether it's serious or whether it's not, we'll let you figure that out as we go through and to 2024 and do this. But a little basketball preview tonight, certainly. Again, thank you to Corley Pool Solutions for sponsoring this. They believe in providing the absolute highest quality swimming pool service at the most affordable price to you and your family. I know it's winter. I know some of you are probably kind of ignoring that right now, but you shouldn't be. You should still be contacting Corley Pool Solutions, whether you're in Lexington or in the Lake Murray area, to get your pool cleaned. I was talking to people today, and I understand that leaves can get in your pool. That can be a pain in the rear end. Don't let it happen. And as always, we always thank you to Bourbon and a Styrofoam. We are open to sponsorships, as you're clearly able to see right there. Anybody that wants to weigh in, be glad to contact us, and we'll be glad to talk to you. But tonight's all about South Carolina and Clemson. 8 o'clock tip time. You can tune over to 107.5 The Game or 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach if you want. Places you can listen to the early game tomorrow morning for a recap of what we see and the audio played. But you can tune over to 107.5 The Game or 100.3 The Game and listen tonight both to the pregame starting at 7:30 and the game itself. The game will be played on the ACC network for those of you wondering. And again, it's fun. This is the fun part where we actually get to talk basketball. How often have we really been able to talk basketball in this state as it pertains to South Carolina and Clemson? This is a series that South Carolina actually leads overall. And tonight, I kind of lean Clemson. I think on the road, I'm interested to see the Gamecocks. If South Carolina can pull this one out, when you look down the line, Florida A&M, Elon, Charleston Southern, Winthrop, and East Carolina on Saturday, 12 noon ESPNU, also on 107.5 The Game and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. If South Carolina can pull this out, it really opens the door not just to being ranked, not just to being ranked, which I think is very possible, but it opens the door to a perfect 13-0 non-conference schedule. Can you imagine that? Last year winning just 11 games. This year, you'd be able to maybe top that in non-conference play. So with all that being said, it's a big night for South Carolina. Big night for the state of South Carolina, to be honest, to have two ranked teams. I saw John Rothstein tweeting about this morning. That's a national writer, national tweeter, or X, whatever you want to call it, national guy talking about the in-state rivalry game tonight. And I'll go back and say again, to me, BJ Mack and PJ Hall, two guys that can dictate the play of their teams. Meechie Johnson's red hot. There's no doubt about it. You look at his last few games and the way he's been able to shoot the basketball, Meechie Johnson's been red hot. I don't know if you can count on that tonight on the road, what I assume is going to be a hostile environment at Little John Coliseum. I don't know if you can necessarily count on that, but I like Meechie Johnson. We'll see if he can stay consistent tonight. BJ Mack has been consistent. How does BJ Mack play? How does he perform tonight against one of the better big men? Give PJ Hall a lot of credit. One of the better big men nationally, not just in the ACC, but nationally. PJ Hall, I think he's got a bright NBA future. If he can get there, we'll see what happens. But I think how BJ Mack matches up against PJ Hall will be important. And then how the bench plays for South Carolina. Jacoby Wright has been really good coming off the bench. Zach Davis, I love his length, his ability to defend. He's given some offensive pop off the bench. I think that's really important tonight. It's going to be a team effort. There's no doubt about it. But I'll go back to, I've given you a couple keys. Again, Meechie, BJ Mack, PJ Hall. Which coach makes the right adjustments late in the game? It's hard for me to see this game getting away from either team. Certainly that could happen, but it's hard for me to see this game getting away from either team. And so with all that being said, which coach makes the proper adjustments in the second half, in the locker room, to be able to give their team an opportunity? It's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to it. Again, I kind of mentioned and I kind of hinted at, I got the red, Christmas red, and the white on, so more of a Gamecock garnet and a white. I kind of lean toward the Clemson tonight. I would take South Carolina to cover. I think the 8.5 is a lot. Over-unders you see set for 143. Going to be a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody for joining in. Again, this is something that we're going to do briefly, as you see, more of like we'll call it maybe a treadmill session. It's been about 12, 13 minutes now. And as you can see, apparently I did this incorrectly because it was supposed to air at 7 o'clock. We'll learn, but it is something, again, that myself, Preston, Jen, we all want to do a little bit more frequently and join you late in the evening here and give you a little recap of the day and talk about things. And who knows? Again, thank you to Corley Pool Solutions. All they've done for our show, for me, appreciate that. And of course, again, bourbon and a styrofoam. You can never go wrong. So I appreciate everybody joining us. Good luck tonight. Hope you have a great evening, great Wednesday night. We'll see you first thing in the morning, 6 a.m., 100.3 in Myrtle Beach, 100.5 in Florence, and of course 107.5 The Game right here in Columbia. Reminder, coming up in about an hour, you can tune in to 107.5 The Game, 100.3, and catch the pregame show. Should be a lot of fun tonight. I look forward to it. Hope you guys and girls enjoy this little quick preview, things that we want to bring to you. Maybe we will name them treadmill sessions. That might be a good way to call them, something you can hop on the treadmill and enjoy. We always appreciate it. Always love y'all for joining us. Y'all have a great night. Take care. Look forward to talking about it first thing in the morning, 6 a.m. You pretty much guarantee we'll hear from Gamecock Larry in the opening segment. Y'all have a great night. Take care.